Well, we hope you've been enjoying the program that you're watching right now on Channel 10. That program, of course, being George Harrison's Bird Show. My name is Kevin Pulse. I'm here in the Channel 10 studios with Louise Fusey, as well as with George Harrison, the writer and talent in the program that you've been watching. We're here to take this short intermission in the program and ask you to give us a phone call at 297-8100 and pledge your support for this program and other programs that you enjoy on channels 10 and 36. And your support is very, very important, especially these times everybody's been hearing about the problems in Congress and the funding for PBS, but we'll assure you we're going to be here. We want to be able to provide you with the best sorts of programs that we possibly can, and programs like this cost money. And without your support, well, maybe this program won't be here next time. We'll still be here, but 297-8100 is the number. Call right now and make sure that you see us here all the time with programs like George Harrison's.
Not only will we still be here, we will still be here with the finest in nature programming, but right now we're here with one of the finest in nature programming specialists. This is George Harrison. This is George Harrison's book, and just to prove it to you, here's George and two owls. It's sort of like his
George and friends.
It's sort of like his driver's license picture. He's here with us this evening because he believes in public television and because he believed in the power of public television strongly enough to want to make this program. Tell us a little bit about what moved you to work with the producers on this fabulous show and turn your book into TV.
Well, it's been a part of my life since I was about 7 years old. That is, attracting birds to the backyard and photographing them and writing about them in magazines and producing books. And so it just seemed like a natural progression to produce a video on the subject. And it's been the kind of project that's been very rewarding because people love to see the birds in their backyard and learn how they can attract them to their homes.
Now, I know that people are having a great time watching this program right now, and I'm sure every one of them, if they were sitting right here where I am, would say, what should I be looking for in my backyard right now?
Well, today and tomorrow are great days to be feeding birds in your backyard. With the snow that we're having, the birds will come to the feeders more readily because it's an easy way to make a living, an easy way to find food. Even though they still glean a lot of food from the wild, about 70–75% of what they eat comes from the wild, that other 25% comes from feeders. And during severe weather like this, the percentages will go up. So if you have a backyard that has some trees and plants and that sort of thing in it, and you want to attract birds, why, put up a feeder. Put up a feeder immediately tomorrow morning at daylight, and you'll have birds, I guarantee it.
And now, as a matter of fact, that leads nicely into a small point we want to make here, which is you'll notice that when we have a television show on you think is just great, you're glued to it. You're sitting here right now, I know you're always saying, okay, I'm going to put a feeder up, I'm going to do something about feeding those birds in the wintertime, and when's the show coming back on? That means the show's important to you. That means you need to go to the telephone, dial 297-8100, and pledge your support. Now, if you'll do that for us, we have a number of thank you gifts, not the least of which is this book, and it's referred to here as the classic guide to enjoying wild birds outside your back door. So, if you'd like to have this fabulous book, oh, look at all of these neat illustrations, all of the text that will give you more than everything you ever wanted to know about seeing great birds outside your back door. Give us a call right now. Talk to one of our volunteer operators. They'll tell you how to get a hold of the Backyard Bird Watcher while you enjoy the rest of the program. But first, what's Kevin got to say about all this?
Maybe you've been watching and trying to take some notes while George was giving you some hints about bird watching and feeding birds this time of year. Or maybe you were trying to catch all the information as Louise was flipping through the books. Well, you don't have to do that. We've got a little bit of an incentive for you right now that if you call with some higher pledges, we will send you along some premiums. Now, for a pledge of $70, we will send you George Harrison's The Backyard Bird Watcher book with all of that information about when to feed birds, what to feed birds, and when you're going to find them in your backyard. At the $120 level, we have another program of George's. This is called Birds of the Backyard, Winter into Spring. This is a very informative program. It tells you a lot about the sorts of birds that you're going to find here in southeastern Wisconsin this time of year, particularly because it is winter going into spring. Now, if you do know quite a bit about birds already and you still want to make a little bit of an extra pledge, for a pledge of $50, we will send you along a certificate from the Old Elm Nature Store in Elm Grove for a 25-pound bag of bird seed. Now, all of those are meant just to get you up and make that phone call. It's not any sort of purchase or anything like that. It's a little bit of an incentive for you to call 297-8100 and say that you're enjoying this program and you're willing to support it with your financial support. Call right now.
Now, this is a really neat thing. Bird watching is let's see, the #2 pastime in the country. The only thing that beats it for outdoor excitement is gardening. Now, think of it. If you want to bird watch right now, what are you going to see, and what should you feed them to get them to come to your house?
Well, the birds I had at my feeder today were largely goldfinches. We had about 26, I think I counted at one time, at my feeders. There are also house finches there, and of course the cardinals and chickadees and nuthatches, and both downy and hairy woodpeckers are there, and blue jays and mourning doves.
And what would they like for bird dinner?
Well, depends on the species. Now, if we're talking about the woodpeckers, they love beef suet. That's a kind of fat that you can get at the local butcher store. The meat counters now sell beef suet for birds. And if you hang that on the tree, you'll get woodpeckers. The finches, of course, they like the sunflower seeds. Now, you can either feed them the sunflower in the shell or out of the shell. They're not too particular, but I think they prefer it out of the shell because they don't have to work so hard to get it. Niger seed, that little black seed, is also good for the finches. And the birds that are on the ground, the juncos, we have quite a few juncos as well, like the wild bird seed mix. It has some cracked corn and some millet and that sort of thing in it.
Now, we, of course, are in public television, like your pledge of support. It's really a pretty crass thing, I know, but it's so hard to pay the staff with birdseed. In fact, what we would rather do is have you go to the telephone, dial 297-8100, and make your pledge of support. Why? It's very simple. Because this kind of high-quality television, the kind of television that just makes you smile and feel great, the kind of television that, as this book says, at last, in simple terms, tells you how you can have the greatest show on earth in your own backyard. That kind of programming only comes from one place, and that is Channel 10. If you'll join us at the $70 level, when you use your Visa, your Discover, or your MasterCard, we will send you your very own copy of the Backyard Bird Watcher. You'll have to bring your own birds, but I am sure that Mr. Harrison can tell us what you're going to need to do that. Now, I'm an apartment dweller, which means I don't think I can have birds very easily, but if I live in a house, what should I do?
Well, the thing you need more than anything else is natural cover, trees and plants and shrubs and that sort of thing in the backyard where the birds will feel safe. They'll be able to escape from predators such as owls and hawks and even house cats and dogs and that sort of thing. That's the most important thing. The other two things are food and water. Water is not so important in Wisconsin because we have lots of water around. But food in the form that grows naturally on the cover, or the bird feeders and the bird seeds and things that we were talking about earlier, will attract birds to the backyard. But I think you could get birds in your apartment. If you have a balcony that you could plant a little cover on it, put a feeder on it, I think that you could have birds at your place as well.
So you can see, this is the man who knows absolutely everything about the greatest show on earth right there in your backyard. He's the gentleman who's brought you what is definitely a classic in the literature right now. It can be yours at the $70 level. All you have to do is go to the phone and dial 297-8100.
That's absolutely right. That's all you have to do. It's very simple. And we have a studio full of individuals here that are willing to help you out and take your pledge. At the $70 level, like Louise said, we'll send along that handy guide to backyard bird watching. And it doesn't surprise me all that our phones are really quite ringing pretty loudly in our Channel 10 studios tonight. This says that a lot of people are bird watchers and appreciates this sort of programming that you'll see every night on Channels 10 or Channels 36. Now, if you dial that number, 297-8100, you're going to get a good feeling inside of you because you're supporting this program. You're supporting the sort of quality program that you expect from Channel 10 each and every night of the year. Now, by calling that number on your screen, you're going to talk to a volunteer phone operator if the phone is available. It looks like there's a couple phones available. They'll ask some very, very simple information, and they'll ask how you want to pay for your pledge. And we encourage that you do pay with your Visa or MasterCard or your Discover card because that makes you an instant friend instantly. You don't have to wait or send in anything afterwards. it makes you a friend as soon as you hang up that phone, and also gets the money to us so we can use it a little bit quicker. So don't hesitate any longer. The number 297-8100. Call with your pledge right now.
Remember the driver's license picture? Here he is with not one but two owls on his shoulder, and this, I am told, is a screech owl. As it turns out, George Harrison had a screech owl as a kid, and now I've heard a fascinating thing about owls. They're not just your regular old bird.
Well, they eat other birds, if that's what you're referring to.
Look at him. I mean,
Right.
isn't he
Sure.
a cute little bird? Can you imagine
Yeah,
that?
well, that's a baby screech owl, and his mama brings him probably a goldfinch or a junco for dinner every night. But that's all part of the wonderful things of seeing birds in your backyard. You see, if you have a bird feeder, then a hawk or an owl will come in and feed on birds at the bird feeder, you see. Not just seed available, but other birds.
Whoa.
And that's all part of the balance of nature. And it's part of the glory and wonderful experiences that you can have at your backyard.
Now, if I'm a novice, I obviously need your book because I'm told that it actually does tell me what I'm doing in simple terms, which for me is honestly a very good thing. This book, as we said, can be yours at the $70 level. If you love bird watching, it's the book you need. But I need to know one more thing. Why is it that when people write books like this, they always manage to come up with great photographs? I mean, here we have a really wonderful photo. How'd you do that?
I'm going to tell you a secret. Now, don't tell anybody else, all right? How
I'm
I
not
shot those
Connie
pictures.
Chung. We'll find out about this.
Right. I shot them through the windows. Took the pictures through the
Wow.
pane
Look at
glass
that.
windows
Can
in
we get a
front of
shot
my
of that?
house. And if you have good glass in your home,
There we go.
that look out onto your bird feeders, you too can take great pictures because the glass is not a problem. Shoot right through the glass. Put the lens right up on the glass or right next to the glass and focus on the birds outside, and that's how you do it.
That sounds incredibly simple. Of course, it always sounds simple when an expert tells it to you. We, of course, being amateurs here, will stick to TV instead.
There's a whole chapter in there on how to photograph birds through the windows.
You've got to see it, you've got to read it, but first you've got to call. Why? Because this is public television. Public television brings you this kind of specialized programming made by some of the finest experts in the country and the world, and we bring it right into your living room, commercial-free at the touch of a dial. Give us a call at 297-8100 and ask about the book.
Now, we've only aired this program once before, and by the phone calls we're getting tonight, it seems like you're going to want to see it again. We're happy to bring it to you. That's the power of public television. That's what we're able to do here at Channel 10. We don't have the commercial network schedule we have to worry about because we provide programs that you want to see. We respond to what the southeastern Wisconsin public wants to see. Now, if you haven't had enough incentive, we'll give you a couple more incentives. If you call with your pledge right now, $50, we'll send along, let me get it here, a 25-pound bag of bird seed from the Old Elm Nature Store in Elm Grove. I'm sorry, we're not going to send you the bag, we're going to send you a certificate. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me to be sending this bag in the mail. But for a $50 pledge, that's what we'll send along, a certificate for the bird seed. For a $100 donation, you'll get the bird seed and the book that Louise has been talking about. And for a donation of $120, there's a video, Birds of the Backyard, Winter into Spring. This is not the program that you're watching tonight, but another very informative program about birds here in southeastern Wisconsin. Whatever the level you pledge it, we're certainly willing to take your pledge at 297-8100. The thing to do is to call right now.
Transmission of today's broadcast is made possible in part by southeastern Wisconsin's 22 community newspapers, sponsors of the annual Lawn, Garden, and Landscape Show March 9th through the 12th at the Waukesha County Expo Center. CNI, Community Newspapers Incorporated.
Birds of the Backyard is made possible by annual financial support from viewers like you and by Tasco, distributor of a variety of optics to more than 60 countries worldwide. Tasco binoculars and spotting scopes provide a bird's eye view of the wonders of nature.
Probably the most fascinating aspect is that just about every bird you saw in this program could be in your backyard right now, or this coming spring, or this coming summer. And that's pretty exciting, and you're seeing that right here on channels 10 and 36. How to care for these birds, how to make sure that they've got the correct seed and the correct housing, and how to identify them when they do fly into your backyard. Hi, I'm Kevin Paulson in the studios here at Channels 10 with Louise Fusey and the author, George Harrison, who also narrated and wrote the program that you just watched. If you enjoyed that program, call the number on your screen right now, 297-8100. Make your pledge of support.
We promised you, and yes, it's true, this is George Harrison. You just saw him in that nice, comfortable sweater, and he ran out of the studio, threw this coat and tie on, and ran back in. Now, an interesting thing happened in between the last break and this break. In addition to the fact that I'm learning the world about birds, I discovered a fascinating thing. Birds don't mind the Wisconsin cold.
Some birds don't. In fact, the birds we have here throughout the winter are very well equipped to live in our environment and in our climate. Birds actually grow more feathers in the winter to keep warm. That makes sense, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. About 50% or 60% more feathers in the wintertime. Same bird. In the wintertime will have many more feathers to keep warm. And then, of course, they can fluff up, you know, like as if they're wearing down coats, and put some air between their feathers and their bodies, and that helps the insulation as well.
And of course, if you had George Harrison's book, you'd know that. As a matter of fact, you would probably know just about everything about making sure that the greatest show on earth is right here in your backyard. Not only can you learn all manner of fascinating things about backyard bird watching, you can learn them, it's true, month by month. Right here in the back of this book, you can see it that we have a calendar for your birding year. And as we look through here, we can discover that, lo and behold, well, there's a picture of George's daughter. She was having a nice time that day. We discovered that March is the time to put up bird houses and shelters. So how do I go about doing that?
Well, we probably shouldn't put them up tomorrow morning. It looks like it's going to be a little snowy. But before the end of March, we want to get the wren house up, the chickadee houses up. The robin shelter should be put up because robins are going to be back in Wisconsin, back in our part of the world any minute now. So it's time to think about summer.
It's also time to think about becoming a member of the Friends of Channels 10 and 36. Now is a fabulous time for a couple of reasons. First of all, when you dial 297-8100, one of our friendly volunteer operators will be glad to take your call. And if you'll pledge at the $70 level, we will send along this fabulous book. And finally, and this is the best part of all, you get to cast your vote for this kind of high-quality programming. You get to cast your vote for programming just for bird watchers and bird lovers. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to love it. Give us a call right now.
Birds in the Backyard is a program very indicative of a lot of programs you watch on Channel 10 almost every day. We call it lifelong learning. This concept means that you're probably going to learn something new each and every day that you turn on Channels 10 or Channel 36. Now, we enjoy bringing that sort of programming to you, and we're sure that you enjoy watching it. You can ensure that that program stays there all year long by dialing the number on your screen right now. The number is 297-8100. Now, if you care to pledge at some of our special pledge levels, we'll send you a couple thank you gifts. It's kind of an incentive. First of all, the bird seed bag. It's a 25-pound bag of Old Elm birdseed from the Old Elm Birdseed Company of Elm Grove. That's at $50. The book that Louise has been showing you, I have it right here in my hand, the Backyard Bird Watcher book by George Harrison, our guest in the studio tonight. That's a $70 pledge level. Now, at $100, if you can afford to send that along, we'll send you both the birdseed and the book. And one more at $120, excuse me, Birds of the Backyard, Winter into Spring. Now, that's a different program than you've been watching tonight, but equally as informative and equally as fascinating. Make that pledge right now, 297-8100.
You know, this is a unique opportunity because George Harrison is here in the studio. It means that this book can be yours at the $70 level, and he'll sign it. Now, personally, I think that is an absolutely fabulous deal. He will also reveal all kinds of neat secrets. Here's one that has been driving me crazy for years. My parents have this beautiful house, gorgeous picture window. Every third bird that flies by hits it. Why is that?
Well, it's not quite every third bird. I think you're exaggerating there. But birds do hit windows, and there are at least two reasons why birds will hit windows. One's the obvious one, and that is that the window casts a reflection, and the bird thinks it's a continuation of the woodland and flies into it. And I've found that only about 1 out of 10 birds that hits a window will die. And if it's going to die, it'll die immediately. So if the bird is on the ground and is still alive, it'll probably recover. Just leave it there, and it'll probably recover and fly away. The other reason is that in the springtime, when birds are establishing territories, they fight a reflection, the other bird in the glass, thinking that's competition. And we have both robins and cardinals at our place that will be fighting a reflection in the glass starting in a few weeks now to try to get rid of that other bird that's competition on the other side of the glass.
I have had a great time tonight because I have learned so much, and I've learned it in a way that frankly was easy for me. I'm not an ornithologist. I hardly know one bird from another, but I had a great time, and I'll bet you did too. That's why you chose to watch this program. That's why you choose to support public television. It's as simple as that. If you enjoy the programming, support the programming. Go to the phone dial, 297-8100. We'll be glad to send along this fabulous book to you at the $70 level. Kevin told you about the great videotape at the $120 level, but what we're really pleased and proud to send along to you is this great programming. It is not everywhere, and it certainly isn't on any other channel, that this kind of high-quality programming comes your way day in and day out.
This coverage map here behind me is real interesting. It shows exactly how vast the viewing area of channels 10 and 36 are. Well, that means if you're living up in the Winnebago area, Green Lake, well, you're probably watching Channel 10 for all of your public television programs. And if you're watching up in Green Lake and you're watching up in Fond du Lac and Dodge County or wherever, you make that phone call right now, you'll join the 50,000 or so members of the Friends organization here at Channel 10 and 36. Now, we know that only about 1 in 9 people are members in our viewing area. That's not a real big percentage. We're hoping that with this drive, we're going to encourage a lot more people to join the Friends group and become a friend of channels 10 and 36. It's very simple to do. The number is 297-8100. Now, George has been telling you a whole lot in his program and also here in the studio as well about the birds of southeastern Wisconsin. And anywhere you live in this southeastern Wisconsin viewing area, you're liable to see any one of those birds that he was talking about by looking into your backyard. Now, with some of those incentives gifts, it'll make it a lot easier for you to identify those birds and figure out exactly how to keep them there during the winter, during the spring, during the summer. It doesn't matter what you pledge at, as long as you make that phone call right now and pledge your support.
Now, this is neat. I'm telling you, this is really neat. This kind of high-quality programming, bird watching, photographed by a master. You saw more gorgeous pictures of more birds than you could ever dream possible right here on Channel 10. Doesn't it motivate you to want to go out tomorrow morning, sit in your own backyard, and just marvel at the greatest show on earth? The greatest show on earth right there in your backyard, and another greatest show on earth right here at Channels 10 and 36. Now, don't worry, George Harrison has not left the studios yet. He's in the back seeing who's calling and who's pledging from where. We know we're getting pledges from Milwaukee as well as from the surrounding suburbs, from all over the 11-county area. Now, if you haven't gone to the phone yet, now is a very exciting time to do that. Dial 297-8100. Become a friend of Channels 10 and 36. You'll do three great things. First of all, you will do the really great thing of receiving at the $70 level or above this thank you gift. It's our way of saying thanks for being a friend of Channels 10 and 36. Second of all, you will receive the satisfaction of knowing that you're supporting the program service that's bringing you this fine television show. And third of all, at least as important as the other two, you're casting your vote for this kind of programming. You had a great time watching all of those fabulous-looking birds. If you're saying to yourself, well, let me tell you, when I saw that great little red bird with that little mascot, he looks like a little CIA bird. That is one of the world's great-looking red birds, and I'm going to go out and find one of those this spring if it's the last thing I do. If you find that your time outside has been enriched and enlivened because now you know a little more about the birds that you see, then cast your vote for the program that made it possible. Go to the phone dial, 297-8100. Be a friend of Channels 10 and 36.
Well, we'd like to thank somebody who made this program possible. We forgot to do it, unfortunately, at the beginning of this break. That would be the Old Elm Nature Store in Elm Grove. They offer a diverse selection of custom blended wild bird seed, bird feeders, houses, books, and recording for bird watching enthusiasts. We also have some other people to thank. Those are the people who, and there you see the Old Elm Seed and Feed and Nature Supply Store in Elm Grove. We also have some other people to thank, and those are the people who have made our food here possible this evening, our food donors. Hector's a Mexican restaurant. Grand Cash and Carry Catering, Cafe Malange, Pray for Foods, Aramark Refreshments. We really appreciate all the donations to feed our hungry volunteers here in the studio at Channel 10. 297-8100 will keep those phones ringing and keep our volunteers working really hard tonight towards our goal of $300,000 for this particular pledge drive here in March. Now, with your phone call, you'll become a member of the Channel 10 and 36 Friends, whether you pledge at the $50 level, the $70 level, $100 or $120 level. Well, what you're doing is you're saying that you're a supporter. You're voting for the sorts of programs that you're watching on Channels 10 and 36 all year long. So make that call right now, 297-8100. It'll take a few minutes. We're going right back to our program in just a few seconds, so make that call right now. Thanks.
We are having fun over here. The phones are hopping, no pun intended. And the reason is pretty simple. It's because programs like this hit a chord. Books like this hit a chord. And authors like this certainly hit a chord. What is it about bird watching that people love?
I told you it was the second most popular thing after gardening. So, yes, everybody likes to have birds in their backyard. And it's easy to do. It's simple. It doesn't cost a lot. And here in Wisconsin, it's very enjoyable. And
now, if I want to go out tomorrow and become a bird watcher,
Yeah.
What are just the basic things I've got to invest in, assuming I've got a house and a yard to start out with?
well, actually, you don't need anything really. You can just enjoy the bird. Well, you need a feeder, a bird feeder,
Okay.
and some bird food, and hang it close to the window, close to a little bit of cover, so that the birds can escape in case there's a predator. And that's about it. A bird book or a bird guide would help, and binoculars would also increase your enjoyment of it. But basically all you need is just to have a bird feeder or a bird bath and some cover in the backyard.
We'll make it a great deal. We cannot do a lot about the binoculars, but we've got a great bird book, as you've seen at the $70 level. It is George Harrison's The Backyard Bird Watcher. They call it the classic guide to enjoying wild birds outside your back door. And believe me, it is classic. It's the book that the television show you just saw was based on. You saw George in the television show. Now George is in our studios. It's a heck of a deal at the $70 level. He'll even sign one for you. But you've got to give us a call right now at 297-8100. Use your Visa, your MasterCard, your Discover card, but start out by using your telephone.
And if you're like me, watching the program is fascinating and you can't write quick enough to write down all the suggestions, well, with the pledge of $70, you do get the handbook, so you can refer to it as a reference guide at any point. Well, that's great, and the $120 video is great, and the bird seed is great. And, well, we're just appreciating that you're calling and making sure that everybody who hasn't called, who hasn't become a member, does take that time right now and dials 297-8100. Pledge your support for the sorts of programs like this program that you've been watching, and keep it on the air all year long here at Channel 10. Thanks.
Transmission of today's broadcast is made possible in part by Southeastern Wisconsin's 22 community newspapers, sponsors of the annual Lawn, Garden, and Landscape Show March 9th through the 12th at the Waukesha County Expo Center. CNI, Community Newspapers Incorporated.
We've been having an absolutely marvelous time watching this documentary here in the studio. It's a special American experience. It's a very, very special look at a very special president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. We're taking a break from the program for just a moment, and don't worry, you are not missing a second of this wonderful show. You are watching a built-in break. A break that we're bringing to you to ask you to become a member of the Friends of Channels 10 and 36 by calling 297-8100. When you do that, you will be doing several things, not the least of which is casting your vote for this kind of biography, this kind of introspective, fabulously researched, beautifully written look at two of the most amazing historical figures of our time, Franklin Delano Roosevelt and his wife Eleanor Roosevelt. Think of it. Right here in your living room at the touch of a button, one of the finest historic documentaries to be made this year, right here on public television. We ask in return is very simple, that you support your public television habit. Go to the phone and dial 297-8100.
And in my estimation, this is about the finest program that you can find on television, The American Experience. The documentary, the production techniques, the way it's shot, the writing is just phenomenal, and we enjoy bringing it to you. We sit here and we watch it ourselves because we enjoy it so much. Now, if you become a member of the Channel 1036 Friends by dialing 297-8100, the number on your screen right now, one of the benefits that you get is the fine-tuning guide. In the fine-tuning guide on page 6 is a little description of the American Experience for this evening. American Experience FDR. Fresh eyes and new scholarship look at the remarkable trajectory that carried Franklin Delano Roosevelt from his family estate at Hyde Park to the White House in his two-part series. Now, that says a little bit about what you're going to see this evening, but unless you tune in and watch the whole thing, you're not going to get the full flavor. What fine-tuning does is give you a summary, a little capsule of exactly what you can expect on Channel 10 and Channel 36 all month long. Now, by calling the number on your screen and pledging at the $35 a year level, which is the basic membership level, fine-tuning comes to your door each and every month. Call right now with your pledge, 297-8100.
Now, this is a thank you gift that is extremely apropos, to say the least. It can be yours at that $240 level when you call us at 297-8100. It is a complete videotape set on VHS of This American Experience, narrated by David McCullough. You see there the distinctive picture of FDR. We've also got on the other side of this beautiful presentation box one of the early family photos. You can see them here, Franklin, Eleanor, and some of their older kids. And you can see the entire American Experience anytime you want. You can go back over the sections that you like over and over again. All you have to do is dial 297-8100 and join us at that $240 level. You know, $240 when you consider that that is just $20 a month, that you are paying only $20 a month for 365 days of high quality programming. It's not a lot to pay, and in fact, when you look at what you get in return, it is money well invested. Give us a call at 297-8100. Use your Visa, your MasterCard, your Discover card. Think of joining us at that $20 a month level. We'd be glad to send along this fabulous set of video cassettes.
And at any level over the basic membership level of $35 a year, you get the benefits. I was telling you a little bit about fine-tuning before, but another benefit I want to tell you about is the Lost Key Protection Program. What happens is we send along this key that you're seeing right now on your screen. You can attach it to your key ring, and if, in fact, you lose your keys, which I think everybody does at some point, there's a little number right on the back of it, and if you stick it in the mailbox, it will get sent back to us, and we send along to you. You can see right there. These aren't my keys. These are Kathy Eli's keys. I don't have my keys on me right now. But this is exactly what it looks like. It's a small little key tag. It says, I'm a friend of Channels 10 and 36. You can show people that you're a friend, but the best way to show that you're a friend is by calling the number on your screen right now, 297-8100. You get all the benefits of membership by becoming a member of the Channels 10 36 Friends, fine-tuning, the lost key protection, but the best benefit of all is that you're a member keeping this program on the air all the time.
You know, public television has really led the way in documentaries and in biographies, and if you think of it now, this FDR biography is certainly an amazing feat. The time that FDR served as president and Eleanor was the most celebrated first lady of her time and then some, the press did not report the very issues we're talking about right now. As David McCullough promised you at the beginning of the program, we're talking about these people's marriage. We're talking about the things that went on in their lives that made them the great people that they became, that made them the leaders of our century. If Eleanor Roosevelt had not undergone the kinds of stresses, the kinds of experiences that she underwent as a younger woman, I can guarantee you the Eleanor Roosevelt that everyone knew during the 30s, during the 40s would not have been. This documentary will help you understand that and bring a dimension to history that would otherwise have been lacking. That's why when you dial 297-8100, you are supporting the best in documentary television. You are supporting the best in nonfiction television. You are supporting the best.
And supporting makes all the sense in the world, and it's so very easy. First step, pick up the phone, 297-8100. It's the number you dial. One of our friendly volunteers are going to answer the phone, ask you some very basic questions. It only take a few minutes. By charging with your Visa, your Discover, your MasterCard, you make that pledge even quicker. It comes faster to you, comes faster to us, and then we can apply that money directly to our programming. Now, television is a very expensive proposition. This FDR documentary that you're watching this evening, well, it's a pretty hefty price tag to produce, pretty hefty price tag for us to be able to bring to you. But you let us know that this is the sort of program that you want to see, and we're happy to bring it along. Now, you can ensure that this sort of program is on the air all the time. 297-8100 is the number you dial. Very easy process. We appreciate your phone call, and you'll appreciate everybody else's phone call as well. Call right now.
Transmission of today's broadcast is made possible in part by Southeastern Wisconsin's 22 community newspapers, sponsors of the annual Lawn, Garden, and Landscape Show March 9th through the 12th at the Waukesha County Expo Center. CNI, Community Newspapers Incorporated.